Hey, Mija, this is Diana, and I'm Ana Rosa. And this is Mija, Let Me Tell You, a space for growing, healing, and figuring life out as first generation Mexican immigrants. Hola, welcome back to Mija, Let Me Tell You.
Saludos a todos, ¿cómo están? Nos extrañamos ya cada semana, muy entusiasmadas de estar aquí con ustedes.
Sí, y ahora estamos en mi espacio de podcast. Es en progreso. We're working on it. It's a work in progress. It's not as nice as mi coma Diana's podcast setup, but I'm getting lots of inspiration from her setup.
It's really comfy. I really like your space.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Of course.
So yeah, we're excited to tackle another topic. But before we start, I know we wanted to give out a shout out and say thank you to everyone that's been watching or listening into our podcast and have shared opinions or like have shared any of their thoughts and recommendations. We're happy to kind of make it what you guys want to see as well. And I know we talked about having guest speakers, and we're in progress of setting that up too.
Yes, and just to thank everyone as well, because if you follow us on our Facebook or Instagram, we also have our Motivation Fridays with quotes, and we try to make it interactive so that everyone, it's not just on Wednesdays when our podcast comes out, but that everyone feels part of the community and supported, and we share what we feel it's inspiring.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I honestly look forward to our Fridays because sometimes I'm like, es viernes y el cuerpo lo sabe,
Totally.
And like, sometimes you need that motivation just to get us through the weekend. So
Yes.
I appreciate all the quotes for
Me
sure.
too. Some of you who may follow myself or Anna may have learned that we have established a nonprofit organization called Centro Corazón Comunitario. And this has been a work in progress for about, I want to say 2, almost 3 years. And it's really a powerful organization. It's a grassroots organization, and it's specifically based to help support immigrants who come to the United States, no matter where they come from, but to support them in the process of assimilating and kind of integrating into the U.S. system or culture. And it initiated with an idea of helping our community, and that grew amongst a few members. And I remember our first meeting, we met and we just started brainstorming. We did not know how to even start a nonprofit, but we researched, and it's taken a little bit of legwork, but we are finally to the point where we received our nonprofit organization approval, and we are very excited. And so we are having our first event.
Oh,
actually,
nice. Awesome.
I want to share out if I can. It's coming up this week.
Yeah.
It's Hispanic Heritage Month, celebration in the U.S. And in honor of that, it's going to be our first event. And so there's going to be on September the 28th in Solvang, and el kiosquito allí in the middle of Solvang, right? We're going to have an event, and it starts at 12 p.m. with bailables and, just like the local community coming together.
It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday, yeah. So Sunday, September the 28th, coming up. Todos invitados, all welcome to come and celebrate with us the Hispanic Heritage Celebration and Month, and just honoring our culture right in the middle of Solvang. And you know what? This weekend is Danish Days.
Oh, really?
So we're following the Danish Day celebration, making presencia de todos los hispanohablantes y todos los latinos en el Valle de Santa Inés y sus alrededores, porque algunos integrantes, some of the members of the nonprofit organization are from Lompoc. So there's Lompoc and Santa Ynez. And the reason we wanted to come up with this organization is because we feel that Lompoc or Santa Ynez are always like the outcasted, left out in a way. We have our northern Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, lots of resources. We have Santa Barbara to the south of the county and lots of resources. But what about Santa Ynez? And what about Lompoc?
Right, like the middle part.
Yeah, we always feel we're like in a little island, a little islita. You have to go out to get the resources. So that's why we came together. We are, growing. So our services are going to be growing little by little. So be patient with us as well as we are learning. But it takes a village, and it took a village. And definitely thank you to the sponsors of those who are making this event happen. Community members have come together to be able to host. Va a haber musiquita, baile por allí, baile por acá. So, aparte de los bailables, va a haber música, va a haber oportunidad de compartir en familia sanamente, que eso es lo que nosotros queremos, que sea una celebración sana y con el motivo de celebrar nuestra cultura. Como lo hacemos en México, en la plaza.
Sí,
No tenemos plaza acá en Estados Unidos, pero el kiosquito de ahí de Solven, todos invitados, all invited, Sunday the 28th of September, starting at 12 y hasta que el cuerpo, no, just kidding, hasta que nos cierren el parquecito ahí, ¿no? Como hasta las 6, 7 de la tarde, dependiendo. Ya está oscureciendo más temprano, pero all invited. So welcome. Centro Corazón Comunitario extends a cordial invitation to our community.
Yes, and that's awesome. It's such a great resource for a lot of our families, who need that extra support, especially when they come to the U.S. We've been talking about how my parents really had supports that helped them navigate the healthcare system, all those things. So it's really great that there's a centro like that in the valley, that can help. That's awesome.
But we have a location in Lompoc and we have a location in Santa Ynez. Like I said, the founding board members all have experienced the immigrant experience. And so that's where it comes, el Centro Corazón Comunitario. It comes from the heart.
Yes.
Because we've been there, done that, literally.
Yes. And you relate with that experience with the people you're supporting, which is really great. Yeah.
So all invited, los invitados.
And that's awesome. Yes. And it is el mes de la hispanidad, as they say. We just celebrated la independencia de Mexico last week. And so I know other countries in Latin America también are celebrating their independence.
Yeah, excited.
Yes.
But so that kind of little segue to today's topic is la high school o la preparatoria.
We're like dun dun dun.
Tan tan tan. Es para unos.
Para algunos, sí.
Para algunos ha sido bella experiencia, para otros no tan bella, ¿verdad? Pero vamos a hablar de nuestra experiencia. We're going to talk about our experience at the high school en el Valle de Santa Ynez.
Yes, Santa Ynez High School.
Yes. Tan, tan, tan.
I guess we kind of did talk about our elementary school experience, and now the high school is la secundaria.
Sí, la preparatoria.
¿O la prepa?
Sí, la prepa. Middle school sería como casi la secundaria.
Okay, yes. You want to go first since you stepped foot in Santa Ynez before I did?
En la Santa Ynez Valley. Well, era el año del 2002.
2002.
Sí, creo que era el 2002. Yeah.
Sí.
Sí, era el 2002. ¿Qué recuerdo? Estaba muy...
Didn't you say you started working your first day?
Yes. Literally, I was so nervous. I'm going to start with that. My high school, it started so nervous because my first day in high school, I was so excited, right? Because, I was started dating Manuel. So, of course, yo lo iba a ver en la high school, right? So, I was like, in the summer before high school, you went to the mall, Fashion Max, all those.
Did you take pictures? How you could take those pictures with the backgrounds with the corazoncitos and dice. They had some dice on
See,
some of them.
yes, I love those pictures. I still have some of those. Maybe we can put one out there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had one for my quinceañera too.
See,
Like me
yeah.
tocó.
Yeah, so we did like this started like in when I was in 8th grade, 7th grade,
Mm,
and nos íbamos a tomar la Magic Photo, creo que se
is that
llamaba,
what
ahí
it's
en la
called?
mall de Santa María, y íbamos con nuestras amigas, nos
Mm,
alistábamos y escogías el background y ahí, y luego ya, then later on, they would print them out for you, and then you would write a
oh yes,
dedication to your
atrás.
friends.
Yeah, in the back.
Yes, and then you would pass them out. And so I remember we had those binders,
Yes.
the clear binders, and
Mm-hmm.
then you would put a collection of your friends' pictures or little stickers. This is the ones that you got from like the vending machines, the
Yes.
sticker, like the
Yeah, yeah. You put the quarters and then
you got the
pull it
sticker
out.
out. Yeah, this is see.
Sí,
Yeah,
sí.
I had the collection, and so yeah, so it was like the summer. You went and got ready for school, but this time around, it was very especial, right? You were
Sí.
going to high school, and that's life changing. You know,
Yeah.
like, and my first day at high school was the first day at the job at Taco Bell. And they didn't call me all summer for some reason, but they wanted me to start the same day I started high school, so I was double nervous.
Oh yeah.
But I remember we would go to the classroom, and it was our homeroom.
Yes.
The homeroom.
You got your schedule.
Yeah.
That's right.
No sabíamos de dónde. I had dreams that I got lost in the high school because of the nervousness, I guess.
The newness of it all.
I was like, oh, and then later I'm like, why would I be nervous about getting lost in the high school? It's not even that big.
Yeah,
but
now it's not that big. Yeah, compared to other high schools.
Yeah, Santa Ynez is
pretty small.
relatively small. So,
Yeah.
so I remember the first day, and then getting to be with my boyfriend, and he would walk me to class, and he would wait for me in class, and after class and during nutrition or lunch, we would share our lunch. But
right.
yeah, that was a high school. The first day of high school. How was your day? Your first day in high school?
I was nervous. I was really nervous. Por si, like I have self-diagnosed separation anxiety. I'm pretty sure because like every time I went to school, like it would take me a good month maybe to kind of feel okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would get really nervous when I would go to school to the point where like sometimes I'd like want to throw up and stuff, and that's why I'm like I think it's self-diagnosed. No one diagnosed me. No one, my mom was like nervios, these are nervios, which is common to be nervous, but I was like, that seems like a little bit like separation anxiety. So when it was time for high school, like it was quadruple, like 100 times multiplied the nervios, because I was like, oh, like I'm a big girl now,
Yeah.
And I do remember like you would go to your homeroom based on what your last name was, so that's at least you got to see like your primos and stuff.
Yeah, that
people
was like...
that had Cepeda last names, or so that was kind of nice to start off the day with people you were familiar with, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really liked my homeroom because you weren't like in an actual class. You were there for like a minute.
Yeah.
And then they would ring the bell, and then you would actually go to your next period.
Yeah. So, and honestly, I feel like it was like nerve-wracking, but I feel like once I was there, I felt better. And like I said, being around people like, which is the nice thing, because I went to high school with my primas. So having family around helped.
For sure. That was one of the beautiful things, because our cousins were in different schools, right? Throughout the San Ynez Valley. So allí te tocaba que like people would come together, and you would be like, oh, I never saw you before. I mean, and now we're here and we're sharing some classes maybe, and
I had a couple of classes with. I feel like my freshman year I had classes like PE with my cousin Marisa, and like that also made it so much nicer because you had someone to hang out with when everyone was doing laps and stuff. So you're like, hey, let's just hang out and walk together or run together,
Yeah. And then we had those early release days.
Yeah. Yes.
I really like that. I really like that early release. We get to go home, or back in the day it was Antonio's. Remember Antonio's Pizza? We would go hang out at Antonio's and eat some pizza, or Gino's Pizza, or other places in town where you would like kick back and just relax.
Yeah. Oh, See, when my generation, we didn't have.
Yeah, you're gonna early release.
We did have early releases, but I think I just went home.
You're
Probably, I was like, okay, I need to go decompress somewhere by myself. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
but every generation is
It's
different.
for sure.
Yeah, I do remember my freshman year, to add stress on top of my stress already, was I tried out for soccer.
How was that?
It was it was hard. It was really hard. I feel like we had tryouts, is what they called Hell Week. So it was like a week of just doing like running and doing drills, and like the coaches were keeping an eye out and seeing who would be able to make it on the team. But it was like practice at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and then like before school started, where we had to like run and do all the things, and then you had to come back after school and do the same thing, like do drills and run and condition. And I think, yeah, we called it Hell Week, so it was a week long, and by the end of the week you would know if you made it or not.
Wow, definitely Hell Week for sure.
Yes.
All that.
And my dad would drop me off when he was on his way to trabajar, como a las 6 de la mañana.
Early.
I think he left earlier just to drop me off, so
Oh, man.
thank you, Dad.
Shout out to my dad.
Shout out to mi pa. And then he would drop me off before work, and then I'd, do all the drills and stuff, and it was a lot. I'm not going to lie, it was pretty hard, and luckily, by the grace of God, I made it my first year, which was really nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it definitely kind of was a little bit stressful, because we had practice every day, and then except for the days we had games, and we had like a game maybe like once a week. But we, like, for the away games, we would go like all the way to like Templeton, and then we wouldn't get back till like 8 o'clock, and then I'd have to do homework, and then do it again, the next day or something. So I think that was kind of hard, balancing like sports, and then I was taking like honors English or something like that, so it was a lot of reading. So it definitely taught me like, balancing
Academics.
Academic with extracurricular a little bit. But I mean, it was fun. I didn't continue because I feel like it got a lot more intense, especially I honestly, for me, like, I loved playing soccer growing up. Ya ves que we did AYSO growing up, and I played soccer for 8 years, and then I tried out for the high school, and I played in the high school for a year. But like, people got really into it, and I'm like, this is not fun anymore for me. So I was like, I'll just try something else.
Well, se vale, sometimes you just grow out of things, and that's okay. You find new interests and new hobbies.
Yes. Yeah. And I ended up doing track and field. I think it was like my junior year in high school, and that was fun for a little bit. And then I was like, oh, this is a lot of running. So I tried a couple of things, like sport-wise, and when I was in high school.
It's interesting because you were more into sports and doing that, and I know you did volunteer work too.
Yeah.
For me, it was more like academics, porque I really enjoyed the school experience. Don't get me wrong, but going back to my parents and like having a boyfriend at an early age, lo que me decían is like when I started going to high school, because they knew I was gonna see Manuel more often,
Right.
and they're like, Mija, puedes tener novio. Pero si tus grados bajan, bye novio.
They're like, done with
Yo quería
novio.
tener novio, so I wanted to have a boyfriend. So, bueno, they didn't really put it hard on me because I really liked school.
Yeah.
But I knew that I had to keep up my grades in order for me to still be able to see Manuel and not be in that place where they would be like, nope, ya bajan tus grados, nope. And, like, it was really nice because Manuel was always very supportive. Like, if I had to take a test and I couldn't see him for weeks, especially like final weeks or eso, and he would be so patient. He's like, yeah, no te preocupes, and that was wonderful because I didn't feel like he was pressuring me.
So you didn't feel pressured to
be like, ¿quieres platicar afuera? Like, you're not even talking to me. No, he was wonderful. So, y también me acompañaba en los momentos más difíciles, like, I remember in English class, like, we had to do presentations, like speeches. And I, like you say about having anxiety about going to school, I had anxiety speaking in public, and especially in classrooms where my friends weren't there. AP classrooms where a few Hispanics were present,
Yeah.
and no se sentía como el apoyo. And you would
Mm-hmm.
stand up there, obviously you don't speak perfect English, and I would stand up there, se me olvidaban las cosas, red like a tomato,
Oh.
empezaba a sudar, all
Yeah.
that works.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Manuel would like walk me to my classes,
Mm-hmm.
and I would, would be like, like I have to do a
Presentation
speech, a
or something.
presentation, and
Yeah.
my stomach would be like all knotted, and
Oh.
I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom, like necesito, necesito, I just need my space. And he would go and like really, really accompany me, So
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I knew he was a keeper,
Yeah.
that, he was there. He wasn't pressuring. Pero talking about the classes, Anna, like,
Yeah.
let's speak about that, because I know you had the similar experience.
I
And
did.
it was hard. It was hard being in classes where, of course, you wanted to do AP honors because,
Mm-hmm.
like we wanted the challenge, and we knew that we wanted to
Go to college.
go to college.
And those classes gave us the opportunity to take an exam that would maybe help us get into college, or like showed that we were challenging ourselves, or if you passed the AP exam, you got like college credit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, so like in Santa Ynez, you started with like the lower grades, like freshman, sophomore. I think they didn't have AP classes. It was like honors. You would do honors, like English. And I remember like over the summer, my freshman year, they assigned homework. That was part of the honors English experience, if you will.
Yeah.
So like even before I started high school, I remember that if you were doing honors English, you had to read two books. I think it was like Fahrenheit 451 and like A Tree Grows in Brooklyn or something, which are pretty big
this.
books. The topics are interesting, but just like I remember reading Fahrenheit 451, I was like, what did I just read? Like comprehension wise, I was like, am I, is this a little too high above my level, and you start feeling like that imposter syndrome, if you will, even in high school, where like, am I even supposed to be in this class? Like, like I read that book and I'm like I remember half of what I read. Like it was kind of hard to follow for me. And so you start seeing that imposter syndrome kind of sink in a little bit. And it's even more, what's the word, brought to the front for you when you go into those classrooms and you don't see peers that look like you.
That was
you're
hard.
you're like the only Hispanic in those classes. In my generation, I feel like I had a couple of students that looked like me that were in those classes, but I don't know how it was for you.
For me, it was a couple as well, but they already had friends in the class, so I was the one left out. And sometimes I felt left out because the teacher would like put groups together, and I'm like, con cuál grupo me voy?
Yeah,
like I felt left out. Literally, it was hard, and I would tell myself, if they can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
If they can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
And that's how I got through one day at a time. And there was teachers that would really be supportive. I would stay after class, and they would like help me review my essays, and because writing came hard to me. As a second, English as a second language learner, English came hard, like the writing part.
Yeah.
It was just, it didn't click until I was in college, and it was very challenging. And I remember like cuando nos ponían en grupos, I would be like, ¿con quién me toco? Porque
you don't know
I didn't feel the
anyone.
connection,
Yeah.
After a while, you built that connection, but at the beginning, it was really hard.
Right. And I think we had really great teachers too. Like, shout out to Ms. Dickey, Honors English, freshman year. Like, she was really supportive and encouraging. I know that like Ms. Babcock,
Ms. Babcock.
AP English senior year, she was also really supportive. Like, hasta me regaló un libro. Like, we had to choose a book or something, and I remember choosing the book The Help.
Yeah.
And you would read the book, and then you'd go and talk to her about it. And I remember telling her that like, oh, I really enjoyed this book. And next time I saw her, the book was on my desk.
Oh, wow.
And
that's
she wrote
wonderful.
like a cute little note. So like, I feel like we're fortunate to have had some really great teachers that were willing to meet us where we were, you know?
See, and talking about Hispanic heritage
Mm-hmm.
teachers, we
Yes.
had our Spanish teachers, Señor
Mm-hmm.
Vizcaíno.
Oh, yeah, because we had beginning Spanish for Spanish speakers, and then we had advanced Spanish for Spanish speakers. ¿Verdad?
Yes, and then so I had the privilege of having Señor González when he was a teacher, and then
I
later
see.
became a counselor.
Yeah, he
Shout out
became
to
a
Señor
counselor.
González,
And shout out to
gracias.
Señor González.
Y Señor Vizcaíno.
Mm-hmm.
Those two teachers were very influential.
Yes.
Like, we felt at home. Cuando estábamos en sus clases de español, we
Yes.
felt at home.
Yes.
And we felt like we belonged, and we felt
like family.
Family,
Because,
yes.
like I was gonna say, 'cause,
Totally.
like our primos that came before us,
Mhm.
like they all were in their classes or were part of
Sí.
Hola, you know?
Yeah, the club Hola, Organización de Latinos y Americanos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and they were kind of the advisors there, and they would take us on field trips.
Yes.
I love the field trips because that was like the connection to the community college. They would take us. I remember it was a community college
and
and a
4-year.
university.
Yeah, 4
right?
year. Mm-hmm.
And that's in one of those field trips, Anna,
yeah.
is where we went to UCSB, and I knew I wanted to go to college. I didn't know how I was going to get to college. I know I had to get good grades because, I mean, obviously that's to go to college. You need to have good grades. But did I know the process of filling out the application? Did I know anything about what that looked like? No.
No, because you were the first in our family.
I was like, I want to go to college. And another person that was very influential was Arcelia. She worked at People Helping People. Mm-hmm. And I remember she went to the house, but she wasn't going to the house for a program I was in. Mm-hmm. She was going to the house for Jose. There was some program that Jose was involved. And I remember my mom told me, dile, you know?
Like, pregúntale.
Pregúntale.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember telling Arcelia, and I remember, I'm never going to forget, Arcelia, do you think you can help me apply to college?
Oh, I got chills just thinking about it because it's a process my parents
didn't know. But they knew that this person I could be trusted to help out, or at least direct me to someone, you know? And I remember asking her, can you help me apply to college? I don't know how, but I want to go to college. And she says, I think it was a Friday when she was at the house, or Thursday or Friday. She's like, next week on Monday, be there at the Pirates Cove. That's where she was, L5. And I remember...
L5, you remember?
Yeah, I remember. L5, ahí en la misma hilera de donde estaba el señor Vizcaíno González, at the other end, L5. Yes. Never had been there in L5 in the Pirates Cove until I went that day. And I did live to that promise because I told myself, if she's making space for me to go in during lunchtime, and I could be spending my lunchtime. Manuel was out at that time. Yeah, he's 2 years older, so ya estaba en Ellen College estudiando para automotive technician. Y yo me acuerdo que fui, and I was like, I'm here, remember? And then she explained to me, what do you want to do? And I told her I want to go to UCSB. And the reason I told her I want to go to UCSB is because in one of the Hola trips, we had gone to UCSB. And I remember someone saying, I told them, this is where I want to be. Like, to me, UCSB was like, I felt comfortable there because they had Raza College Days. Yes. I don't know if you remember Raza College Days, but it's like another way that I felt embraced in my culture. And I remember, aquí, this is where it's going to be. And somebody told me, no, it's not for us. Even though we were going on a field trip, it's like I guess we didn't, the imposter syndrome, feeling like we don't belong there. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to be here. And, working with Arcelia, filling out the applications, I got admitted. And I still remember the day I opened the letter and my mom and myself cried. Aww. And, I still have it saved, the admissions letter, because it was a big deal. It was a big deal for us. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew I was going to college. I don't know what I was doing.
What that entailed.
What that process looked like. And we'll talk in a different podcast what that looked like. But I remember going to the mail. I lived in the apartments on Central. And I go with a letter because I got other admittance. I got admitted to other universities. But the one that I was looking for se dilató.
Sí,
Me hicieron
la de
sufrir los de
UCSB.
UCSB, go Gauchos. And then me hicieron sufrir, and then I
Sí,
go,
sí,
and then I'm like, vi un sobre más pequeño, dije,
ya estuvo.
ya estuvo, porque los otros estaban grandes y decían que
Sí.
sí, este está más pequeño.
Mm.
Entonces I go up the stairs bien nerviosa, and then
No.
I sit down. My mom had, ya ves que tenían el comedor ahí, le
Sí.
digo, ma, ya llegó la carta.
Yeah.
And then like we open and I'm like, ma, me aceptaron, and then
Oh.
nos agarramos ahí llorando, and it was a big deal.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
I
a
feel
big
like it
deal.
kind of envelops like the whole reason they came here
Mm-hmm.
was for us to have opportunities that they never had. And that was the first example of like, hey, all of our sacrifices and all of the work we've put into moving to a new country is we're seeing the fruit of their labor.
Yeah, and I remember feeling very happy, and I
Mm-hmm.
shared it with Arcelia, and I shared it with my, el señor Vizcaíno González,
Yeah.
and they were very supportive too. They've been supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you remember your process about getting admitted to
To
the university for
yes,
you?
but it was hola también that I got to see UCLA for the first time because you're right. I feel like those field trips were such a pivotal moment in
Mm-hmm.
our high school experience and moving forward because my parents didn't know what universities were close by, didn't know, what that would entail. Like you see your white counterparts, if you will, like their parents take them to college tours and all these things. And we didn't have that because my parents didn't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we had that opportunity at the high school, like I sometimes think about it, I'm like that's such a big, big part of my college journey because how would I have known there was a university in LA,
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And just experiencing like it was like a peek into the daily life of a college student.
yes.
You saw, I remember, I won't forget ever the bikes, the millions of
The
bikes in UCSB, and I'm like, ay
UCSB, yes.
caramba, and the bikes. But then you saw the big edificios, the library. They took you to the dorms, and you got to see
Mm-hmm.
that. Otherwise, you could only be imagining how
Right.
that looked like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of eased that um the scariness of it out too. Like, hey, I can do this. These are
Mm-hmm.
all the students that are doing it. Why can't I?
Mm-hmm.
But for
Yep.
me, my college application process, I remember that year is when I started working too at the souvenir shop in Solvang.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why I waited till the last year when I was, doing college applications, scholarship applications to find a job. But so it was pretty stressful balancing school and college applications
Mm-hmm.
and work for me. Like it was tough. I remember thinking like it was a tough year. but
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I remember that I got accepted to um, a couple of schools también, and I remember thinking I was stuck between UCLA and UCSB. And I remember I liked UCSB because it was close to home.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pro. I remember thinking the con of UCSB was that this is my thinking. Back then, I was like, oh, but it's always cloudy. Like the marine layer is always there. Like I want to see the sun. So, and I'm a person that loves the sun. So when it's cloudy, like I get kind of the cloudy blues. But I'm like, it's close by, and like I said, I've always been anxious to go to
Mm-hmm.
school. So that's a pro for me. But I also really loved UC. Like when we went to go visit it through Ola, like I loved UCLA. Like it was just beautiful. Um, like buildings were bricks, like brick
Mm-hmm.
buildings and stuff. And I remember like losing sleep over like this decision. Which, if you think about it, I'm like, as an 18-year-old, this is a really big decision to
Yeah.
make, like where you're going to school. So I remember going to Señor González, and I remember telling him like, Señor González, like I'm losing sleep, like I don't know,
Wow,
I
it's
don't
a
know,
big deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I should go to UCSB or UCLA. And I remember him saying, "Why wouldn't you go to UCLA?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Why wouldn't I go to
Yeah.
UCLA?"
¿Por
I
qué
mean, because
no?
no sé por
¿Por
qué
qué
no.
no?
I think there was that imposter syndrome too. Like UCLA, it's a well-known school, and so I was like, can I even do well there? And then I told him like, also it's like pretty far away, and he's like, it's only like 3 hours away. So he really made me consider, like, kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone and was like, why wouldn't you go to UCLA?
Wow,
You know,
that's
like he
powerful.
posed that question, and it's a question that I remember. I'm like, why wouldn't I go? You know, it seemed like it was very, like, the answer was there. I think I just needed him to kind of guide me
Yeah.
a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
As Senor Gonzalez is amazing at doing. He's good
Yeah.
at guiding, and yeah. So that's when I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to UCLA, and that's where I end up going. And we can talk more about the college experience, but yeah.
That's amazing. And I know that another thing that I was worried is how am I going to pay for college,
Yes,
you know?
yes.
And it's in everybody's mind. Now,
Mhm.
obviously, college is not free,
Mhm.
right? There's tuition
There's,
and living
yeah.
expenses, and especially if you move far away. And I remember when I went to UCSB, I know it was so close, but I knew I didn't want to live at home.
Yeah.
I wanted to
You
really,
wanted to experience
yeah,
it,
I
yeah.
wanted to experience. I didn't drive yet, so for me it was like, no, I need to live on campus, very close, because I don't drive, and of course there's a bus. But I really wanted to kind of get enveloped in that college experience. I didn't know what that was, but I really wanted to get away from home, become independent. Yeah. And so I remember, thinking, well, how I'm gonna pay for college.
All right, I think that's it for right now. I know, like I say, the plática is real good. And I think we're going to have to do a part 2 on this episode because we love sharing about our experiences. And, you know, we talked about our high school experience. But yeah, so we'll have to share part 2 next week on Wednesday. So look out for the episode. But for now, we'll leave you with this one.
Yes.
And again, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for all your support and all of your encouragement. It really means a lot to us. And again, follow us on social media, el Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok. If you have a TikTok, follow us there. We'll post random things too. But anything you wanted to add?
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and thank you for being you.
Totally.
Yes. Con gratitud, this is Mija, let me tell you.